tészti pelletier majd és kizsínisli, Billigana Bashin, Kinlachini Dashe, Billigana Dashnova. Welcome back to Res Ball. This time we're previewing UNC North Carolina out there in Chapel Hill. Forward wing Drake Powell. I mean, this is one of the easiest cases to make. If you remember back in January, I told Jam this was my guy of like, don't go back to school, come out in the draft. I'm glad he did make that decision because everything on the profile screams NBA player. Let's get into Drake Powell right about now. Drake Powell grew up in Pittsboro, North Carolina, went to Northwood High School, final season in Northwood High School, senior year, 17.7 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game, 4.5 assists per game, 2.2 steals per game, 1.2 blocks per game. Beginnings of seeing the all around player here that Drake Powell was in high school. Good rebounder, solid assist dude, gets a lot of steals, even gets a lot of blocks for being a guy that's thought of as like wing guard. At North Carolina, though, he was recruited to play the four. He's playing the power forward position pretty much all year. We'll circle back to that here in a minute because part of this is context as well, looking at this team. And a fun little tidbit: Drake Powell's grandma is Hubert Davis's aunt, so that makes Coach Davis and Drake Powell cousins. Just something to think about. And when I saw that, I was like, "Huh, it's interesting to see." I don't know that I've ever worked for or been around anybody that was my cousin like that. So cool little tidbit. Drake Powell stats at North Carolina this past season: 7.4 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, 1.1 assists, 0.7 steals, 0.7 blocks per game, and 0.7 turnovers per game. All sevens there. Shooting splits for Drake Powell, 56.9% from 2 point range, 37.9% from 3 point range, and then 64.8% from the free throw line. Shooting splits for Drake Powell, pretty good so far. The free throw numbers are going to be concerning. That's probably the number one thing for me. 58.1% true shooting percentage, though. Again, for a guy that we're arguing for is like a super role player, I mean, 58.1% is where you want to start. Fantastic true shooting percentage, even with the free throw numbers not being so great. It's still very good efficiency. 45% 3 point attempt rate. So almost half the shots come from 3 point range. And then the other part that's concerning, just 7% assist rate, 10.2 turnover rate, but 13.8% usage. I mean, this is a guy that really didn't get the ball a lot. If you look at the numbers too, 40 assists to 27 turnovers. So that's the positive part about it. Sure, you look at it and you're like, the assist percentage is so small. The turnover rate's higher than the assist percentage, but look at the raw numbers: 40 assists to 27 turnovers. You're like, okay, I can work with that. And that does seem to indicate somebody that takes care of the ball. And as I've said again and again and again, 10% turnover rate, it's really not that big of a deal. This is just somebody who is a play finisher, similar to how we talked about with Carter Bryant. When he's given the ball, he's been instructed, go finish the play. Don't pass out of it. Don't really do anything else. And the high school numbers at least indicate 4.5 assists when he was the man and given more usage. He knew how to move the ball. So, and then 40 assists, 27 turnovers. Again, it seems to indicate this is somebody that knows how to move the ball. Why am I so emphatic on Drake Powell? Well, number one, he measured in at 6'1¼ inch tall without shoes. So he's like 6'6" at the least in shoes. 200 pounds, 200.4 pounds, and then a 7 foot wingspan. That definitely shows up on defense. If you remember in high school, it was 2.2 blocks per or 2.2 steals per game, 1.2 blocks per game. I mean, he was all over the place. The numbers here in college: zero point 0.7 steals per game, zero point 0.7 blocks per game. It doesn't look stellar, like really eye popping, but 26 steals, 25 blocks. The blocks in particular really stood out. Anytime you did film work on Drake Powell, that 7 foot wingspan absolutely showed up, whether it was smothering dudes to make them more inefficient or getting blocks from just a face up position. There are a ton of guys that tried Drake Powell and immediately found out, wow, I can't get my shot over that guy. I need to do something else. So, yeah, absolutely on defense, the wingspan shows up. And remember, he's playing out of position at the four. this 6'6", 200-pound guy, you're not going to be asking him to play the power forward position in the NBA. Really, you're going to be asking him to play shooting guard. You're going to be asking him to play small forward. So all those are nice things to have. Again, 7-foot wingspan. Anytime you have somebody who's not a power forward, who's 7-foot wingspan, you want to utilize that on both ends of the court and on defense for sure. Drake Powell will utilize that. He's also a very good athlete. I mean, go look at any athletic testing he did at the combine. Look at any film. You're going to find some good dunks. You're going to find some good chase down blocks and some good just being vertical, getting up there and getting blocks. I mentioned it before. Play the 4 here at UNC. If you hear any of his interviews and stuff, he's going to talk about that he feels like he's playing out of position, which one of those things I roll at like almost every prospect's like I was playing out of position. But in Drake Powell's case, it warrants consideration, and he's right. Look at the totals on this UNC team. The top 5 guys that got minutes for North Carolina: RJ Davis, Elliot Cadeau, Seth Trimble, Drake Powell, Ian Jackson. If you know anything about college basketball, that's a problem. Normally, you want to see your minutes designated of your top 5 guys, of your starting 5. One guy's clearly the point guard, one guy's clearly the small forward, one guy's clearly the shooting guard, one guy's clearly the power forward, one guy's clearly the center. Top 5 guys in minutes for UNC. If you don't know this, let's look. RJ Davis listed at 6 foot, 160 pounds. Ian Jackson listed at 6'4", 190 pounds. Seth Trimble listed at 6'3", 192 pounds. Elliot Cadeau listed at 6'1", 180 pounds. And meanwhile, Drake Powell is in the midst of that, trying to play power forward with 3 guys that are all essentially point guard size and all essentially like combo guards. It's hard to play in a lineup where, again, you're playing with like 4 other guards. There was never a time where it was like those 4 and Drake Powell. It was mainly 3 of those other dudes, and then Van Allen Lubin played 6 most minutes here, and Jalen Withers. So pretty much it was like 3 guards, Drake Powell, and then 1 of the big men. So if you're concerned about the numbers or have any questions about the numbers, context. Remember, all these numbers here: 7.4 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, 1.1 assists, 0.7 steals, 0.7 blocks, are operating within a system where you have 3 other guys who are ball dominant guards who ain't giving up possessions on it. It's why Drake Powell only had 13.8% usage. And then the other guy's a center who's not shooting or doing anything else. So part of the reason why UNC struggled and was a funky team was that they're trying to run 4 guards at all times and 3 guards out there pretty much 100% of the time. And yet this UNC team still managed to get to the tournament. They still ended up 23-14, made it into second round. So as much as I criticize it and as much as it did hold them back, they're still 13-7 in the ACC. That was the same record as Wake Forest, if you remember, with Hunter Salas. And gee, I wonder why Wake Forest didn't make the tournament with that same ACC record and UNC did. Do with that what you will. Let's look at the shot chart. Again, the way I keep saying this is an easy case to make for Drake Powell. Look at the shot chart. Sure, 14 of 43 from above the break threes, 32.6%. You're like, well, I would like that to be better. Fine. 22 of 52 from the corners, 42.3%. Superior role player, mega role player. Yes. Fantastic corner numbers, 22, 52 from the corners. This is what you want this guy to do and what he was asked to do. When you play with all those ball dominant guards, you got to have a corner 3-point shooter. And Drake Powell was happy to do that and did it at a really good rate. 11 of 25 in the mid-range. Again, didn't really take shots in the mid-range. Why would you want him to, right? He's the 3&D dude. 13 of 30 in the paint, 43.3%. That's solid. Again, you're not really going to ask this guy to have a runner floater or do much in the paint. But at the rim, 42 of 61, 68.9%. That can get better also when you're not asking him to play power forward and he's not playing with 3 other guards in there. So all of this is a really good starting point for a 3&D wing, 6'6", 200 pounds, 7-foot wingspan. Break up the shots. As you see, if you're watching this on YouTube, probably more left side dominant. That has to do more with playing with a bunch of guards who drive right. So 35 shots from the left corner, 17 from the right. But again, both sides over 40%, 40% on the left corner, 14 of 35, 8 of 17 from the right corner, 47.1%. fantastic. That's what you want out of this dude who you want to stay in the corners first and then work everywhere else. Speaking of working everywhere else, though, 4 of 19 from left wing, 21.1%. Not good at all. 1 of 7 from top of the key, 14.3%. Terrible, but that's small sample size. And then 9 of 17 from the right corner, 52.9%. He is going to have to work on these above the break threes, definitely. But it's nice to know you can start defensive guy here who has really good athleticism, and he's going to be solid in the corners while he works out the rest of his game. Again, not really going to take anything in the mid range, and at the rim, super solid. And you can believe it's going to get better when he's not playing with 3 other guards and he has some more consistent spacing around him. So I really like the shot chart, and I really like the game for Drake Powell. Again, think of a super role player coming in. You're not going to give a ton of usage to. He's just going to sit here and be supplementary guy to your stars. I mean, the comp two to me is easy. This is a lot like Josh Green, who plays for the Hornets now. Again, not a guy that's gaudy with the stats, somebody who took a while to round out the offense and work on the 3-point shot, but now, like, super solid, did really well for the Mavericks, traded over to the Hornets, who absolutely need his defense and 3-point shooting, and is starting to show a little bit more and more, and is a very good athlete, just like Drake Powell is. I believe Josh Green is a little bit taller at 6'7", but I don't think he has a 7-foot wingspan, if I remember correctly. Again, one of my Arizona guys. But again, pretty much 1-to-1 here. You want to space out the floor. You're a really good athlete who can finish very well once you get inside to the rim. And slowly but surely you add a little bit more, the very minimum 3&D dude that every team needs, that defense and that floor spacing, and you have plus athleticism. A lot of good things with Drake Powell, and quintessential 3&D type of player. Lots and lots of good resources to look on the internet for Drake Powell, starting with our guys over at NoCeilings.com. Great season highlight package for Drake Powell. Hardwood Hoop Central NBA Draft Green Room, of course. 1 hour, 40 minutes, 46 seconds. The comprehensive look at Drake Powell, looking at all these things in here. Patrick Welter has a nice little interview with Drake Powell and Cajun Pasta, and his love of Cajun Pasta, North Carolina guy. Go check that out for sure, too. And last but not least, College Basketball Scouting has a nice scouting highlight package on Drake Powell, wing out of North Carolina. Again, think Josh Green here, 6'6" with a 7-inch wingspan. Great shooter from 3, great corner 3-point shooter. The rest of the game is going to round out. Don't find this kind of athleticism and measurables as well as 3-point shooting. Again, I mentioned the free throw numbers. This is the hard discussion part. I'm not going to save it. It's like, what do you do with that information, right? Do you believe that the free throw numbers indicate, oh, he's not that good of a shooter? Do you factor in, okay, he's only really good from the corners, so that must mean like he's not that good of a 3-point shooter? I think that's unfair. And this is where you got to go back, look at the high school tape. I think the form is a little funky. I'm not going to lie with that too. It's not Ray Allen picture perfect kind of thing. It is more of a get up and shaw kind of shot. So if you care about those things, I'm sure you're going to care about it a lot. But I lean more towards the Josh Green thing again, to where you're like, sure, I'll throw in those free throw number concerns, free throw percentage concerns. Like anybody that shoots under 70% and you want them to be a 3-point shooter, more likely than not, the free throw numbers indicate there's an issue there. Again, Josh Green, there was issues there with Josh Green coming in. Same kind of thing, but it took a while. You draft him later on in the draft. You're not drafting this guy like super high to come in and automatically get usage. You're not coming in to automatically be like a superstar. You're drafting him middle of the round, right? I have Drake Powell listed at 21. Again, that's what puts him outside the top 20. If he was like rock solid with the free throw numbers, if he had at least one more area from above the big threes where he was knocking them down at even average rate, then it would be top 20 guy, no doubt. There are still concerns that 21 is for me, like where I start drafting guys that I know can contribute right away in one area I want to give minutes to, but I also it's going to take a while for them to round out their entire game. So I think Drake Powell is like that. You give him like 10 minutes, 15 minutes per game. Mainly keep him as a 3-point shooter in the corners. He's more of a second unit type of guy, but you know the defenses are going to be really good, and you want him to slowly get that experience and slowly round out his game because I can't say it enough. 7-foot wingspan, 6'6", great athleticism. You just don't see this very often with that activity on defense. And he's not playing with 4 other guards in the lineup, and he's actually playing small forward or shooting guard with other NBA spacers and athletes. Trust me, this guy is going to excel as a super role player like Josh Green has. So Drake Powell, UNC, fantastic player. Thank God he stayed in this draft because I think this is the right idea. Number 21 overall prospect for me. I really think he could go anywhere from like 13 to 25. I probably would be his range somewhere in there. Back into the lottery, not surprising because of the tools and the athleticism and all that, but probably more likely like 15 to 20 just because this does profile as somebody who's more of a role player. I don't know that many people that buy into like 4.5 assists, primary guy that he was in high school. The defense is undeniable. The shot looks great. What more do you want from Drake Powell? Yeah, thank you so much for listening to us. We will catch you next time where we return with our 3-player pod and the super role players ending with Neat Clifford. Again, one of the most enjoyable watches and one of the best stories of development of the 2025 NBA draft class. Yeah, thank you for listening to us. We'll catch you next time. Good night.